Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. Happy Friday to everybody. Hope you guys had a great week here. So today we're going to go over a few earnings here from Estee Lauder and John Deere that we got in the morning. We're going to go over our major indexes. A few little lower time frame bounces are underway on our indexes and our major tech names. So we're going to go over some inter-timeframe analysis and try to give you guys a bit more advanced level technical analysis so that maybe you guys can apply to your trading game. And obviously we're going to go over our major tech names as well. So without further ado, guys, let's get started. Let's get right into it here. So SPY on the day here up 0.05%. They were actually heavily red on the morning and then had a nice recovery bounce intraday off of a gap down open. And QQQ as well came back nicely throughout the day, but ended negative 0.13% to the downside. You guys can see on the heat map, fairly mixed market today, but we did have some green. So it was not one of those broad market sell-off days that we've been having Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Today was a bit better market as a whole, but some of our major tech names like Google and Tesla definitely dragging a bit on the indexes. You can see here on the one-day relative performance, energy, defensives, utilities, real estate, technology, and industrials slightly up. And then we had a couple laggards here down the most with communication services. Communication services, guys, obviously led by Google and Meta, right? So in terms of the 1 week relative, however, down for the week. And I don't think I need to tell you guys, everything was pretty much down on the week. So before we get into our TA here on our major indexes, let's go over a few earnings. First, Estee Lauder, one of my stocks that I've been looking at for a long time here and actually opened a position up here in the 170s, which I'm currently down on. We're going to see what they did today. So earnings beat, right? Beat on revenue, slight little beat here on revenue, 4% beat. And on EPS though, big beat. We were expecting negative and we actually got positive EPS. So always a good sign when that does happen. But nevertheless, Estee Lauder was not spared for some downside today, guys. Estee Lauder dropping as much as pretty much top to bottom, 8%, and a nice little intraday recovery, but just could not get it back up on the day. So Estee Lauder now pretty much sitting at 52-week lows. We are back, guys, to pretty much March of 2020 levels on this stock. So 3.5 year at this point, right? Price discounts on Estee Lauder. What happened here? Estee Lauder's guidance came in short. The stock is falling. So despite the double beat, they did guide lower for next year. So the forecast for year ending June 2024 was weaker than anticipated. Adjusting earnings per share will range between $3.50 and $3.75, below consensus estimates for $4.88 a pop, right? So I'm going to get some quick maths here for you guys, right? So if we take the share price of Estee Lauder, it's sitting at about 156 right now. It makes a big difference in terms of your price to earnings multiple for 2024. So if we take the share price, 156 divided by your target EPS, let's take the higher end here, 3.75, gives us a price to earnings ratio of 41.6. Quite high still, but the beauty segment does operate at relatively high PE ratios. Now, if we were to take the higher one, the guidance one, here's what happens, right? 156 divided by 4.88, your PE ratio drops by roughly 10, which puts this really below industry standard, right? So in one situation, if they would have hit this guidance number for next year, we would have been good, probably would have rallied off of it because the stock would be considered cheap. But now with the revised guidance of the downside, unfortunately, not considered that cheap anymore, despite having declined all of this since your all-time highs, down 60% pretty much off all-time highs, but it's all a question of earnings expectation, guys, right? The stock is just a reflection of its future cash flows. CEO with a nice little message here. For 2024, expect to return to organic sales growth. So they will be more targeting direct-to-consumer avenues here, such as advertising on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and deliver sequentially improving margin throughout the year, leveraging the strong equity and desirability of our brands. We're focused on driving momentum in markets that are thriving and re-accelerating growth in North America. So guys, the story with Estee Lauder here is the fact that Asia recovery is not as expected. Obviously, guys, this week we've had a lot of negative Asia headlines, right? So Estee Lauder's business, a lot of their business actually, is driven from the Asian markets, especially from duty-free sales. And those just not have come back to 2020 levels. They're still working on it, still a work in progress, but definitely hitting their margins quite a lot and hitting their ability to drive sales higher. Sales growth only going to be between about 5 and 7%. So obviously you'd want to see double-digit sales growth here, but they're doing the best that they can. A bit low though, in my opinion, guys. So Estee Lauder at these prices, if you want my opinion at it, guys, Lowered sales in Asia, a bit struggling in North America here. They are more of a high-end luxury brand, and we are coming into, well, we're in an inflationary time. We do have high prices on a lot of things, so it's very possible a lot of other consumers pivoted to more generic brands. And it also doesn't help that companies like Elf Beauty are absolutely eating their lunch, okay? Elf Beauty, their entire marketing strategy, instead of having in-store sales and having a lot of different boutiques, they just drive advertising on TikTok and Instagram, which is the new wave of doing things, especially when you're trying to target viral marketing and viral beauty products. They have the better business model to do this. But Estee Lauder, definitely legacy brand. They do have a lot of brand equity in them. At these current prices, guys, they are worth a nibble. I wouldn't throw the house at it. I didn't throw the house at it. Only opened a leap call for mid next year, which I have covered into this earnings as well. So I really didn't get hit too much with this today. Quite happy on my positioning here, but definitely a stock worth looking into, a nibble for, because guys, it is a legacy brand here. And in the past, I've seen whenever they've had troubles, they have been able to turn it around, guys. They do have pretty good management here. And second, we're going to look at John Deere here. John Deere, obviously another stock, just like Walmart yesterday. Remember me talking about Walmart yesterday, how they had good earnings, but dropped just because pretty much they were at 52-week highs. And except for exceptional earnings, they were going to drop. Well, John Deere actually did have exceptionally good earnings and dropped nonetheless, right? Because the market's been dropping recently. They were at 52-week highs. So people are just looking for a reason to sell at this point. Earnings, absolute smash on EPS. Estimate 8.2. They came in at 10.2, guys. On an earnings beat like this is one of the better earnings beat that I've seen from a bigger company this entire season. 25% almost, and revenue ever so slight beat, but they were able to bring so much more margin to the bottom line, guys, and that's arguably the most important metric here. John Deere, very solid stock, one of my favorite stocks. I like them personally, guys, in the 360 area. I was playing these back in pretty much May and April when they were down here on the put wheel, but in terms of right now, slightly too rich for me. I know I'm being picky here, but keep in mind, John Deere's been in this consolidation range now for a better part of the last 2 years. But I do think that this is a company that you really cannot ignore. Great value stock for a long-term portfolio, in my opinion. Deere earnings smash Wall Street estimates. Here's why the stock is falling. So this entire article delves, even I was curious as to how the stock could fall after such a net beat here. People were focusing more on the guidance, all right? So fears about the top of the agricultural business cycle have been creeping on, moving to a more cautious stance since agricultural OEMs, said one analyst this week. So essentially, guys, what's happening here is the dealers are restocking inventory, good for current results, but less good for performance down the road. When their inventories are full, dealers don't order more products. So they're bringing into question their capacity to drive more revenue in the future from newer products. Another secondary caution here is the farm income is falling as crop prices moderate. Obviously, the commodity boom of the last 2 years with inflation is now moderating to the downside. So apparently that would leave farmers with less disposable income since they're getting less money for the same amount of produce that they're putting out, right? Because the commodity prices are lower, whether it's grain or meat or anything, right? Another thing here, Deere also sees gains in prices for used agriculture equipment moderating and costs starting to catch up with prices for new gear. So essentially they're saying that they expect people to pivot and buy used equipment rather than buy brand new equipment. So all of this to say, guys, that the one bad thing about this entire report is that people are picking apart is potentially next year, people won't be buying as many new tractors as they may perhaps be buying old tractors or just fixing their existing tractors. That's the moral of the story. The moral of the story is, will this company be able to drive very high sales and revenue growth as well next year? Or are they going to have to take a little bit of a slump after having such a good past 2 years? That's the entire reason for pretty much the drop today, 5.28% of the downside. Bit of an overreaction in my opinion, guys. Solid company. Have nothing to say on John Deere. I mean, guys, come on, look, right? On an annual basis, always pretty much increasing revenue. Very decent valuation as well. Talking about a PE of 14, which is very low, guys, for one of these companies. Does pay a small little dividend, and they do have fairly decent profit margins, guys, for someone who manufactures heavy scale, large equipment like that. Nothing bad to say about this company at all. I like it in the below pretty much 160 area is perfect for me. So let's get into some charts here on our longer term analysis. Yeah. So what I want to show you guys today is we have a few lower time frame bounces in play. So what I was personally waiting for, guys, is whenever you have heavy momentum to the downside, like we've been having in the past 3 days, usually if at the end of this, after a 3-4 series of down days, heavy down days into the close, you want to see a gap down open. It really flushes the last wave of selling. And that's usually when there's no more people left to sell and buyers can come in and put in a rally, right? So S&P 500 here with a green day, but still down on the day. And let me explain this. We're gonna pretty much bring this up on every single chart here that I'm gonna show you guys, okay? So support level remains put at 431.28 right down here. This is your next area of support. Obviously still in weekly consolidation, right? Loss of the 12 EMA, still in weekly consolidation. This 432, 431 area, guys, is crucial for this chart. Still a lot of space to set the weekly higher lows here, but this area is the line in the sand level for me. So at this point, guys, we're waiting for the daily bounce. And then when the daily bounce happens, we're going to measure the size of the daily bounce. So daily downtrend, weekly consolidation, yes. Here's how you find if the bounce is underway, right? Notice, since Monday, this was your hourly uptrend shot, right? And then on Tuesday morning, it got shut right down. The bears took back over. Well, here we have it once again. So pre-market, gap down open, bulls engulf on the hourly time frame and set the hourly rising trend, right? So it's an hourly uptrend at this point. What you want to see then, move from the hourly. Once your hourly is confirmed an uptrend, move to the 4-hour. How do you set the 4-hour uptrend? Very simple. Measure the size of the bounce. So if the hourly uptrend continues here like this, your 4-hour will creep up. If they can create enough space in relation to this guy right here, they can set up for a 4-hour trend change. When you have your 4-hour uptrend as well, that is when you know that your daily bounce is well underway. Okay, so that's a bit of inter-timeframe analysis here. Very crucial to start knowing when your bounce is underway. And then on the daily, we're just looking for the size of the bounce. A bounce all the way up here, set up nicely for daily trend change. Bounce only coming here, and then 4-hour reverses to downtrend, or 1 hour first is always going to happen first. You're going to lose the hourly, you're going to lose the 4-hour, and then you potentially lose the daily again. So keep an eye on that, guys. QQQ, same thing, daily downtrend, but we're going to wait for our signs, right? QQQ now, next area of support, 348.75 right down here. On the weekly, still weekly consolidation here, rejecting from the 12, well, breaking the 12 EMA as a matter of fact. I mean, we're getting very close, guys, very close to our line in the sand level here. I mean, if they do break this 350 level, guys, that's going to be very crucial here for the bulls to hold that. Whenever the bounce starts, measure the size of the bounce. Go down to the 1 hour first. 1 hour engulfing. Haven't had a 1 hour uptrend here since Monday before they reversed it on Tuesday, right? So hourly, next Monday, can we hold the hourly uptrend? If they confirm the hourly uptrend here into Monday, look on your 4-hour. Have they created enough space on the 4-hour to confirm the 4-hour uptrend? If you get your 4-hour uptrend, daily bounce is underway. Then you measure the size of the bounce. This is the guy who started the last down move. So measure it in relation to him. 371. How high into 371 can we push before we lose the hourly and the 4-hour for your downswing? Can we get up to here and then you lose the hourly and 4-hour reverse? Or can we get all the way up to here, which gives the bulls a better chance of doing a daily time frame reversal, which will then end your weekly consolidation, right? So very important, start on your lower time frames here. I know I only usually look at the daily and weekly, but these are all things that I look at, guys, every single day to know, is a bounce coming or is a top coming as well, right? So just keep an eye on that. XLF, same thing, right? Same thing on the XLF today, exact same thing. Hourly uptrend, looks like they do want to set it here. Have not been able to set an hourly downtrend all week since Monday, even past Monday, right? Haven't had an hourly downtrend. Geez, I really have to scroll back here. Last Thursday, 3rd of August, pretty much, right? So which is 2 Thursdays ago. So hourly uptrend attempt, right? So maybe you will get 4-hour uptrend confirmed. At that point, your daily bounce will be underway, right? So keep an eye on these charts, guys. This is how I want you guys to do the analysis. You'll see that I don't have that many indicators. I only look at oversold, overbought RSI, MACD crosses, and inter-timeframe analysis, support and resistance with your moving averages, and your major areas of horizontal supports and stuff like that. It's very easy technical analysis, all right? Especially if you're only looking for these for swing trades on the dailies and monthlies. These are the only things you should really ever need, right? It's not as if we're trying to pick apart the 1 or 5 minute charts here. All right, so XLF, what are we looking for? Still looking for weekly higher low. Anything above 32.56 is going to be for a weekly higher low attempt. We'll see if the bulls can hold this 34 to 33.50 area. Crucial area for the bulls, in my opinion. Why? Moving average here rejecting, and horizontal support area as well, acting as a good rejection area. So a support level for the bulls. So we'll see. The last guy who started it, guys, is this guy up here, right? $35 pretty much is him. So how high, if we do start our bounces, how high can we get? If we only get this high, your weekly consolidation is not going to be finished. It's going to keep going. XLV Healthcare. XLV Healthcare still in a tightening range here. So I hope that the bulls are able to hold this tightening range, right? Line in the sand level for me, 132.12, this low right down here, right? Good area of support in this area. Previous resistance acting as current support, right? So need them to hold this area. Absolutely. I want to see this develop into a tightening range. If it does develop in a tightening range, bulls have a very good shot at turning this the other way once we get through our weekly consolidation here. So keep an eye on that for healthcare. IWM Russell, growth stocks, decent recovery, right? From top to bottom, guys, on the Russell today, right? For bottom to top, actually, almost 1.8%, right? Closing at about 0.54%. That doesn't tell the full picture. You look at bottom to top, bulls putting in a decent amount of space. That's the moral of the story here. This was the danger zone right down here, right? Need to see bulls hold this area here. Why? We are looking for the weekly higher low above 180.2. This area right down here, crucial, right? The bears have taken back so much of this move. Our support level that was acting today is this green line. I don't know if you guys see it. The green line right here, that is your 200 weekly EMA. Very important line. So they held that nicely, ending a nice little wick on this week's candle. So could we get a bounce in the next week? Keep an eye on it, guys. Hourly creating the space needed, right? So look, haven't had this much space created off of a down move and engulfing for a long time on the Russell. They tried it here, flushed, right? Tried to set the hourly uptrend here, flushed again into the morning, right? So you have to go all the way here to find a proper uptrend here. And this was about 2 weeks ago, right? So every time they've tried to do it, flush. So now we'll see, have the bulls finally created enough space to set the hourly uptrend into Monday, which then can cascade into a 4-hour uptrend as well, getting above these moving averages, right? Look, we're oversold. I forgot to show you guys on a lot of these lower time frames. I mean, let's bring it up, right? Real quick. SPY, right? Oversold on the 4-hour. QQQ, oversold on the 4-hour, right? XLF Financials, oversold on the 4-hour. XLV Healthcare, not quite oversold, but getting there, right? You know what I mean? So all these things, IWM Russell, oversold on the 4-hour, right? So same thing, guys, for everything. We're just looking, now is the time for them to do it, okay? So need to see 1 hour move into a 4-hour uptrend as well. That will tell you that your daily bounce is finally underway, okay? And then we have to measure the size of the bounce. Unfortunately for us, guys, the guy who started this down move pretty much from this level right here is this guy right here, top of 194. So we'll see how much the bulls can cut into 194. Not looking good because they would have to heavily V-shape this, but we'll see if they can create enough space here, potentially get back to 198, makes enough space here to potentially set up for a daily trend change. We'll take this one day at a time. But as of now, bulls still in control of the weekly barely. Dow Jones here, pulling below our support area here, right? This yellow line right here, and are now significantly below it at this point. What are we looking for on the weekly? Obviously, we'll daily real quick. Daily downtrend is confirmed. Looking for that daily bounce, just like all our other charts. So I'm not going to do these too much here. Weekly bounce, that's what we're looking for here, guys. Acting as support. Obviously, it's a range. It's not just this line. It's a little range right here, right? So we do still have a bit of wiggle room, but anything above 33,700 is just going to be for your weekly higher low. We'll see if the bulls next week can put together some daily bounces. We'll see how high they get. If they can get high enough, they may result in your daily trend change. Now, Bitcoin. Disgusting day on Bitcoin. Once again here, guys, not able to recapture most of the gains. So Bitcoin at this point, guys, not looking very good. The bears have taken back so much. I would not be surprised. Any bounce is just going to be for daily downtrend continuation at this point. Weekly is also lost. Weekly uptrend is largely lost. The best you can get is a tightening range at this point, guys. But then again, it is crypto. You could get some headlines and it just rockets up in like one candle like this, right? So crypto is a bit of a weird one like that. But what are we looking for now, guys? Bitcoin, very boring, still just in monthly consolidation, doing a whole lot of nothing. Until your IWM Russell growth stocks and risk assets become more favorable, I don't think that crypto is going to do much, to be quite honest with you guys. So long road ahead for the bulls to potentially reverse this a couple weeks at least, unless we get a monster candle off of some news. Apple. All right, so let's do this. We're going to do this on these stocks quickly, guys, because I think you know the drill now, right? So daily downtrend is confirmed on Apple. Apple, nice little bounce off the lows here. Apple still in weekly consolidation. My zone acting pretty well here right now. Anything above 160 is still just going to be for your weekly higher low. So now bulls have a chance at it, right? What happened? Hourly, creating enough space, guys. Look, every time, the last time we've tried to do this is between Tuesday and Wednesday's trading, and we lost the hourly uptrend. Try to get it back again, they flushed again, right? But now, oversold, right? We were not oversold back here, only after the earnings dump. Now oversold on the 1 hour, look on the 4 hour, still oversold. We do have some bullish divergence here, right? RSI lows pointing up, the chart lows pointing down. That is called bullish divergence. And usually you do get a reaction to the upside from it. We'll see if the bulls can run with it though. So hourly, have they created enough space to set the hourly uptrend into Monday? If they do, it sets up for a nice 4 hour bounce. 4 hour bounce needs to get above this guy, 177. If we can get all the way up here, sets up for a 4 hour trend change. 4 hour trend change to the bulls and back above these moving averages on the 4 hour, you will have your daily bounce underway. At this point, guys, daily bounce, you need to get as close as possible to 179. Right? Close as possible to 179, sets up for an engulfing move on the daily, sets up for a potential daily trend change. But as of now, bears still in control of the daily and still in weekly consolidation, need to see the lower time frames reverse. AMD flushing this morning here, coming way down into only like the 102 area, but intraday heck of a bounce for AMD, if I do say so myself. Pre-market absolutely flushed, and then we got a beautiful 4% bounce on AMD. So this is what I'm talking about when I say need the bulls to create space. They created space here on Monday, but obviously the market fell apart the rest of the week. So this is our attempt to put in some space from my sweet spot, right? You'll see on the 4 hour, just touched oversold on AMD for the first time pretty much since July. All right, so that's notable to me as well. So reacting very well for our oversold area here. Need to see the bulls put in a bit more of a move, right? And then reverse the 4 hour trend to them. If they reverse the 4 hour trend, your daily bounce will get underway. At this point, we need to get as close as possible to 113. Close as possible to 113 will set up for a potentially daily trend change. But as of now, bears still in control, still just looking for a lower high. Don't get it wrong, guys, right? The most likely scenario is a lower high. That's why I say, watch the size of the bounce. If the bounce ended up like this, definitely getting a lower high and flush. If we bounce on the daily and then get all the way back up here, guys, sets up a nice potential for a trend change. So that's pretty much it for AMD. If AMD continues to drop, I will be writing next week some puts in the lower 198 range. Amazon putting in also nice day of recovery today, even though we're down 0.57%. Not focusing on this. I'm focusing on the amount of the work that the bulls put in from the morning, right? So you'll see hourly oversold, 4 hour oversold on Amazon, right? Hasn't been oversold since 25th of July, right? So almost a month, not quite, but almost 3 weeks, let's say, right? So putting in a decent amount after all this past 3 days of drop, putting in some nice little work here by the bulls. So we'll see if they can create an hourly trend change here into Tuesday, which leads into your 4 hour upswing as well, right? And that could potentially result in your daily time frame bounce. But bears have put in so much work, anything below 141.13 is just going to be for a potential daily downtrend continuation here. Gap still not filled at 130, but you want to check the size of the move. If we just bounce in here and then we get caught up in this now resistance area and flush, well, that would not surprise me in the slightest. But that's why we have to measure the size of the bounce. This, not going to get it done. This, before the 4 hour reverses again, well, you might set yourself up for a daily trend change, guys. But now the bears are so close to the gap fill, they may not want to give it to them. So we're going to monitor this one closely. Amazon on the weekly, tons of space. Well, not tons, but still some space. 126, just looking for your weekly higher low. 12 EMA right down here. Let's get into Google. Let me check Google right here. All right, so Google rejecting nicely from our support area right here, holding the 128 level, right? Holding this little line that I got here. Very good job by the bulls, avoiding pretty much the daily downtrend flush. If you flush this level, daily downtrend will be confirmed at that point, but for now, still kind of holding in a tightening range, right? Google, gap fill area all the way down to 124 if we do break down below, and Google still on the weekly, tons of space here. Anything above 116-ish is just going to be for your weekly higher low. So this right now is still a weekly bull flag, meaning that we are still just looking for the weekly higher low for potential continuation of the upside. Keep an eye on your 12 EMA. 12 EMA is right down here at 124, and the gap fill area is also right around 124. So if we come down, expect that to be a nice area of consolidation. And obviously, if we break these highs, then we're off to the races, and weekly uptrend just continues. Meta, also nice intraday recovery here, down 0.65, but that's not, you guys now know what I'm trying to say in this video, right? We are looking for the start of some bounces here. It may just be like Monday and we get one day of up and then flush all the rest of next week. Very possible, but that's why we keep an eye on these lower time frames when we're looking for bottoms. Hourly uptrend is confirmed at this point. We'll see if they can continue it into Monday's trading. If they continue it into Monday's trading, you are looking for your 4-hour bounce. Meta, heavily oversold on the 4-hour. Big surprise, right? All right, so 4-hour big oversold here, looking for the size of the bounce, guys. I need to get as close as possible to 296. 296, close as possible. You get back above this big area of support that I had here. You would get back potentially above some of our short-term moving averages, so need to see them put in a nice move. Set the 4-hour uptrend nicely. Your daily bounce will be underway here, but then you got this guy, 307, right? So if we get the daily bounce, measure the size of the daily bounce. You want to get as close as possible to 307, close as possible, sets up for the daily trend change. If the 1-hour and 4-hour get a nice little uptrend and then they reverse after 2 days of trading and we use this whole area as resistance and flush, well then, very simply guys, daily downtrend just continues and weekly consolidation is not over yet, right? So just keep an eye on that, guys. But as of now, Meta has lost the weekly uptrend, so need to see the bulls potentially put in some reversals here to gain that back here. If not, we're going to, if the more we drop here, guys, the more the bears are set up nicely for more of a weekly downtrend into further monthly consolidation. So just keep an eye on that one day at a time. Microsoft here, same thing, right? Looking for exact same thing. Microsoft not too crushed as opposed to other tech names, right? So down slightly on the day today, quickly approaching my sweet spot, 307 down to 285. Microsoft still in weekly consolidation. Nice support here by our 26 EMA. Anything pretty much above 276 is going to be for your weekly higher low. So still looking for that. Bulls still do have a bit of space. If we pull down into my area here, I will definitely be picking up a few shares of Microsoft, maybe running the wheel on it here, but definitely in terms of long-term shares, we'll definitely be picking up some Microsoft here. Bulls with a nice bounce on the 1-hour, so just keep an eye on that, guys. Look if they can maintain these 1-hour trends into next week. Sets up the 4-hour uptrend as well. 4-hour uptrend confirmed will be your daily bounces underway. Microsoft doesn't have that much, guys. If they recapture 325 with an engulfing daily move, you could set yourself up nicely to really recapture this to the upside. But as of now, bears still in full control. The most likely scenario is just a lower high for lower low, but that's the most likely scenario. So it's on the bulls to prove to us next week that they can do this on the lower time frames and get our daily bounces going as high as they can. NVIDIA is going to make or break the market next week. I swear to God, guys, especially with how we're set up here. So daily bull flag continues on NVIDIA. Not going to say too much. They have earnings next week, right? Obviously, this has created enough space that we can get the daily uptrend, but earnings is going to make or break this chart. We're either going to get sent back up towards our 52-week highs, or we're going to flush to lower lows. If we flush to lower lows, daily downtrend is just maintained at this point, right? Nothing new there, and your weekly consolidation will be further underway. Your next level to watch if we do, 374, crucial. If we flush this whole area, 404, guys, monthly consolidation next week will be underway on NVIDIA. Very simple chart. Can't say too much, can't predict too much, because whatever the bulls or bears do could just get rejected by earnings. You know how this thing moves, right? Tesla, same thing here. Tesla down again 2%. Tesla was looking nasty on the morning, if I do say so myself. But look, they are now setting up for the hourly bounce. Okay, so first time we've crossed above the 12 EMA and the moving averages are curling up in a while, right? You'd have to go back to pretty much 2 Thursdays ago for that to happen, right? So first time in a week, look, Tesla oversold 4-hour, approaching oversold, actually is oversold on the daily as well. So this little area here, my sweet spot, is doing its job. It's acting as support. The bears are kind of, even though they've come down hard into it, right? It's looking like they can't push further and further and further. They're getting finally some of that support. Some of the buyers are coming in here finally at this point right here. So Tesla, same thing, right? Need to see the hourly trend change to the bulls. Then you're going to be looking for your 4-hour bounce. Need to get as close as possible to 228. Close as possible. Reverse this. Get above this 4-hour 12 EMA right here. Then you set up for the 4-hour trend change. 4-hour trend change will mean your daily bounce is underway. But bulls with a lot of work to do, guys. 252. Anything below 252. Just going to be for a daily lower high for potential continuation. So when the bounce starts, measure the size of the bounce. Something like this before you lose your 4-hour again, probably coming back down low to the 200s. But if we put in a decent enough move back up here into the 230s, potentially set up nicely for a potential daily trend change. So we'll see how it's going to play out, guys. It might take, the next 2 weeks for these patterns to play out. We're going to watch them closely here. Tesla flirting with disaster, right? Obviously, we've now lost the weekly uptrend, but no reason for the bulls not to be able to potentially set a new one here over the next coming 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? It's just, it takes a while to reverse once you've lost it here. So we're going to take this one day at a time and measure the size of the bounce. Need to get as close as possible to 250 to set that up for Tesla. But now in my sweet spot for Tesla. So if it continues dropping even more towards 200, we'll definitely be picking up some long-term shares. Let's look quickly at PayPal here, or sorry, Palantir first. Palantir here, right? Daily downtrend confirmed. Palantir, decent little bounce on the day, 1.77%, rejecting here from our pretty much 1360 level, which is your weekly level, guys. The level that I was telling you guys to watch out for. Well, we're almost there pretty much. So bulls in jeopardy of losing that weekly uptrend. If we do something like this and come down, guys, keep an eye. That is a weekly head and shoulders. Might not be looking too good. We may have to revisit $12 if the market continues dropping, but we'll see. Just like all other stocks, we're going to measure the sizes of the bounce. At this point, Palantir, you want to see them get as close as possible to 1580, right? To set up for a potential daily trend change. If we only bounce like this and then start heading to the lows, lose your 1 hour, lose your 4-hour time frame, most likely going to flush again. And at that point, we'll be looking heavily to 1360. Lose 1360, guys, and we're definitely going a bit lower. You do have your 26 EMA down here at about 1294 here, right? So weekly consolidation definitely underway and still a daily downtrend. Proof is on the bulls. PayPal. Beautiful bounce on PayPal today, guys. PayPal absolutely crushed, but look, since pre-market with the drop here, up almost 4.5%. So same as the rest of the market here. Gap down opens after big flushes. Usually you get a little bounce from them, right? So 4-hour was oversold. 1 hour was absolutely crushed into the morning. Now the bulls have created a 4.5% space from the bottom. That's why I measure bottom to tops, guys, right? 4.5% space. So if we can continue, once again, continue the 1 hour chart, right? 1 hour uptrend into potentially 4-hour uptrend, you will get your daily bounce underway, guys. So we need to measure the size of the bounce. We're going to look to get as high as possible, as close as possible to 63. Closer you get to 63, more likely the possibility of your daily uptrend getting reversed here. But if we top out on the lower time frame somewhere in the midway here and then start heading lower, well, daily downtrend will just continue and your weekly consolidation, or at this point, pretty much like weekly downtrend, right? They're trying to save it with this area right here, struggling. So I'm not really, until this, until we get a weekly close below our most recent, below our most recent lows here. So let's call it like 59.5. I know it's there right now, but I'm talking about a significant close. Not ready to call this a weekly downtrend yet. Bulls putting up a decent amount of fight at the lower levels here, right? We only got 1 day close below it before coming back up. So we'll see next week what the bulls are able to do with this. If they're able to keep control of the lower time frames here and turn them into decent, that's the weekly, decent daily bounces, okay? So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. I'm sorry the video is a bit long. I'm not going to do the portfolio here. I might do just one portfolio video separately or something like that, guys. I want to try to make these videos shorter. I know a lot of people have been asking me to do that here, but I don't want to skimp out on the technical analysis and my thoughts on where I find stocks attractive, if I just spend 15 seconds on a chart and say support's down here, resistance is up here, and then go to the next chart, I don't think that helps you guys too much, right? Even without giving my opinion on stuff or like my sweet spot levels or more in-depth analysis. So I hope you like the way I do things, guys. I apologize for the bit longer videos. I know you guys like them between like 20, 25 minutes. So I'm going to be trying to cutting them down as best as I can here. I know I've been saying that for a while and I struggle, but I guess I just like talking. So if you like the video, guys, if you like the inter-timeframe analysis, if you learned something, consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. I'd love to have you here on a recurring basis. And if you want to ask me any questions, always feel free down in the comments of the video, guys. I hope you guys didn't have too bad of a week trading. I know it was a pretty terrible week as a whole, guys, but we're just going to keep an eye out here. Need to start seeing some daily bounces soon, and then we can judge whether or not weekly consolidation is finished, depending on the size of the bounces, right? Size of the bounces, or if the bulls have a shot at reversing this into potentially September, right? Mid-September with that seasonality. So keep an eye on that, guys. Take care. Hope you guys have a great weekend here. I will see you very, very soon. Peace.